Joining me right now is the professor of strategy and irregular warfare at the Institute of World Politics and the author of Defeating Jihad, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, with us. Dr. Gorka, good to see you.
Good morning.
So, your reaction to the debate?
I think Hillary has a problem in her choice of VP. That's the first kind of proto-executive decision of somebody running for president. Hillary showed that she picked somebody who's rude, obnoxious, a fabulist, makes things up again and again and again. And Mr. Trump shows somebody who is cool, calm, collective, and has a control of the facts. This was not a good night for Team Hillary.
Well, I know what you mean about the rude, because Tim Kaine did interrupt a lot. And that was the strategy, to stop him, to stop Pence in his tracks from what he was saying. But what did he make up? When you say he made stuff up?
Well, if you look at the way he distorted the quotes about what Mr. Trump had said, you know, all Mexicans are rapists.
Right.
I mean, this is just absurd. This is arguing straw man, and he did it all night. And then when he says things like, well, you know, we killed bin Laden. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. The SEALs killed Osama bin Laden, and whoever had been president, whether it was a Republican or a Democrat, would have given the go order once we found him. And the fact is, they may have killed bin Laden under Obama administration, but now we have ISIS, and ISIS is many times more dangerous than Al-Qaeda. So even when he talked about factual events, the spin was just fallacious, Maria.
I gotcha. Okay, I understand. Dagan.
Well, Tim Kaine interrupted Mike Pence a lot, Sebastian, but if you're going to talk about, like, bloviating and like someone's temperament, I mean, that's the central criticism of Donald Trump. So I don't know how that disqualifies Tim Kaine from being the running mate of Hillary Clinton. Did he put in a good performance? No. Was he rude? Yes. And did he say things that weren't true? Absolutely, yes. He asserted that, I think, the military leadership in Israel likes the Iran deal and backs the Iran deal, which is patently absurd.
Ridiculous.
Totally absurd. And as I was on social media last night, there were people who are not national security experts that were instantly saying, fact-checking, this is wrong. Benjamin Netanyahu rejects that version of events, and there's so much out there. You Google it and you know it's false. So the point here is we have two candidates, let's be honest, two candidates that have negative figures that we've never seen before in a presidential run. So they're both unpopular. What happened last night? One of the unpopular teams showed a vice presidential candidate that made them look even more unpopular. So the fact is, what had to be addressed, the issue of popularity, was addressed by one side last night, and it wasn't the Hillary camp.
Here's Judy Miller.
No, I want to ask you, Dr. Gorka, I mean, really, isn't the whole point of what Tim Kaine was doing last night to remind voters of all of the really off-the-charts things that Donald Trump has said about Vladimir Putin, foreign policy, about loose nukes, about how all of these other countries ought to have nuclear weapons? Wouldn't it be better? Alliances don't matter. Wasn't that really what he was doing last night?
That was a strategy.
Isn't that a strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. Clearly, it was a strategy. But when you do the math, and somebody did the math this morning, he interrupted Governor Pence every 1.5 minutes. So you can have a strategy, but you've got to execute it properly. And it was a shambolic execution of the strategy. If the point was to score points against Governor Pence's boss, it totally failed, because all it did is made Kaine look like an aggressive individual who's unsympathetic, who's working for somebody we already know is unsympathetic. So, yes, clearly that was a strategy very, very badly executed.
I don't think that people are going to like that. I think people are onto that. They don't, you know, any time, for example, Pence wanted to explain the Iran deal and what was wrong with the Iran deal, Kaine got in his face and started interrupting, so we didn't hear him finish his thought. I think people are angry by that. They wanted to hear policy and actual substance.
Yeah, it's a shame, because Tim Kaine actually dismissed the moderator the entire debate. But I think one of the overarching themes that we wanted to get clarity on is in topics that were brought up numerous times were Russia, North Korea, and because he kept going back to taxes, foundations, things like that, we couldn't get some real substance from the Clinton campaign on how they would address those issues.
Well, what about that, Dr. Gorka? Last hour we did talk about the tensions with Russia, especially as it relates to Syria. And this morning, Senator John McCain wrote an op-ed in the Journal saying that we need to stop Assad now or face years of war. Both candidates touched on the policies regarding Syrian refugees last night. Listen to this. Want to get your reaction to Syria.
Donald Trump and I are committed to suspending the Syrian refugee program.
We want to keep people out if they're dangerous. Donald Trump said keep them out if they're Muslim. We'll vet refugees based on whether they're dangerous or not. We won't do it based on discriminating against you from the country you come from.
You've got to err on the side of the safety and security of the American people, Senator.
Dr. Gorka, what do you think? I mean, Russia should not even be involved in this conflict. They inserted themselves. And now Russia is defending Assad, even though everybody wants Assad to be taken down.
Look, Assad is a bad man. He's not as bad as his father, but he is a vicious, vicious autocrat. But the facts of the geopolitical situation are the following. He enjoys the support of both Iran and Russia. So this article of faith that the White House has been trying to ram down our throats for 5 years, that there is no solution to Syria unless Assad goes, what does that mean? Does it mean the White House is prepared to go to war with Russia to get rid of Assad? We need to have a dose of reality come out of the White House, and I think that's what you saw from Governor Pence yesterday. This isn't about people you don't like or people you like. It's about what's the reality on the ground, and the safe haven, the safe zones, is a far more realistic proposal than anything else that is coming out of the White House or the Hillary campaign.
No, wait a minute. The safe zones is a Hillary Clinton idea that she promoted and Barack Obama rejected 2 years ago. That was her original position. She's always wanted to do more. And in fact, did not Mike Pence adopt that safe zone policy last night? Did he not say that that was Donald Trump's policy?
How do we know she's always wanted to do more, Judy?
Well, because of the
Secretary of State under Obama, and we know what Obama has done. He's allowed Russia to walk all over us and insert himself into the war in Syria. So how do we know Hillary wanted something different?
I think we know from the reporting of what happened when David Petraeus, when the CIA director, when the military, when Hillary Clinton all wanted to start arming the rebels, create safe zones. Barack Obama shut it down. Now, that's her problem. She's got to separate herself from that part of his policy.
She's not separating herself, Judy.
She
says she's going to build on Obama's policies.
She cannot separate herself because she was a member of the cabinet that actually instigated our disastrous Syria policy. The red line rhetoric was under Secretary Clinton's mandate. The idea that suddenly things are going to change, the chaos in Syria is in part a result of her Secretary of State tenure under the Obama administration. Those are just facts.